How you doing, Tyler?
Hey, what's up? Good afternoon.
You guys have a new EP out called "New Better Things," and we'll get to that in a second. But I was just wondering if you could give my listeners a little background on the band, like where you guys are from. I know it's the original three guys. You've been together. Talk about where you're from, and then we'll lead into how the band got together and everything.
Yeah. I guess so the first part of the story is that like I'm an old school Boston guy and had bands starting in '94 um and pretty much played straight through until about 2007. Had kids, took a break, moved to New Hampshire, moved to Lowell first, then moved to New Hampshire. Started the family here. Kids reached 10 and everything is kind of normalizing at home. I thought the itch was gone for good, but it wasn't. What am I to do? I'm up all the way up here. All the people that I always worked with are, still in the Boston area, and I can't do that on a weekly basis. So I went to Craigslist here in New Hampshire, and I found Brian, the drummer, right off the bat. He lives 5 miles from me. Went over. He's bald, beautiful, and just had a great attitude. And we liked the same things and wanted to accomplish the same things. So I had an ally right away. And then we found another guitarist. He was terrible, just not the right guy. And then Sean was the second guy we saw, and he was in Drake at the time. And same deal, just the right vibe, bald, beautiful. Um, and we all wanted to do the same thing. Now, the interesting part about it was that Sean, the guitarist, is coming in from a cover band perspective. That's been his experience. He never was in original bands, never wrote. And Brian had done some, but not as a drummer. He had been a guitarist and kind of, band leader guy. But yeah, they were on the North Shore, did some things. So anyway,
Let me go back for a second. Where in Boston did you grow up?
I came to school at Emerson in '93, and
From
I from Connecticut originally. Yeah,
Connecticut. Okay, so you're
yeah,
from Connecticut. Whereabouts in Connecticut?
a town called Southbury. It's near Waterbury, Danbury.
Way down
Um,
there.
yeah, New York area kind of.
And then you also mentioned that you played in bands since '94. Who are some of the bands that you played in?
Oh, so that first band was called the Doozies, and we played our first show at the Rat. Um, and as a matter of fact, we got one of the bookers towards the end of the Rat's run, this lady Sherry, and she would call us anytime there was a cancellation. We were playing there like every other week until it closed, just because we said yes to everything.
You were at the end.
Yeah.
Was
So that was a great thing.
Alan Kraut was the sound guy at that point, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
he was.
Alan's a good guy. And then was there anything after the Doozies?
Yeah, so the Doozies became the control group, a three-piece, and we did pretty well. We were kind of, I think we were in the same Rumble year as Sheila Divine, the year they won. I was neighbors with Aaron at the time, so played with a lot of those classic bands, Vehicle Birth, fucking Cast Iron Hike. We were back, mid '90s, late '90s.
So was it more punkier?
It was no, it was kind of like somewhere between Radiohead and Weezer. Big guitars, anthemic choruses, um, kind of an anomaly, just like Robotic Hawks. uh, just kind of doing something that's within its own little vacuum that you know just goes big. Um, then I was in a band called the Jack McCoys. It
Oh
was a
yeah, I
math rock
remember hearing
band.
about them. Yeah.
And then I wanted to sing again because all these other bands I was just playing bass and backup singer. I started a band called Bradshaw that I fronted with a bunch of guys, and so the last band that I had in around 2007 was called Silent Service, and
And
then the hiatus.
how long was the break?
Um, that's about 7, 8 years. Yeah.
And then you
Um,
just got the feeling to start a new original band.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's I'm not a writer. I'm a band guy. Um, it's like I liken it to a kid making a tree fort. you know the tools, you know the concepts, and it's just fun to see what comes together with a bunch of people and hammers and nails. I don't like writing songs by myself. I'm not brilliant. I'm better because of input and people and validation. This is the right thing. This part does something to all of us, you know. So that's pretty much been most of the bands that I've ever been in have been those designs. That if it doesn't work for all of us at the same time in the same room, then it's not worth pursuing. Because I want the band experience.
Yeah, I
That's what
get
I'm
that.
addicted to, you know.
You mentioned moving to New Hampshire. Whereabouts in New Hampshire?
So it's Hudson. It's right next to Nashua, right on the border, right by the mall.
So you've lived all over New England,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. I did
That's
13 years
cool.
in Jamaica Plain. Um, so yeah,
Do you miss living in the city or do you like being out further out like that?
I like them both. I loved living in the city, and I love driving through the city at night and back and forth across town. Like, I just love that shit.
Going
Um,
all the way back for a second, do you remember what you were listening to when you were young that got you into music and wanted you to play, drove you to play bass? Was there a bass player? Was there a band?
so as a kid being attracted to music, I would say my first crush was Paul Simon.
Wow.
Um, the first song I memorized was 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, and I just loved the cadence of it and his delivery. And so that's where I think the first spark of music came. But then you go to Van Halen, that kind of introduced me to Power, and then I find Black Flag, and that introduces me to a different type of, front man and approach. And then I land on the Replacements, and I go, oh, I can congeal all of that, and so that was pretty much the deciding factor for doing it was, seeing the Replacements on Saturday Night Live and just being like, I want to do that with my friends, and I think we're close enough.
From Paul Simon to the Replacements. I like that. I remember I had a teacher in high school that showed us the words. I believe it was Homeward Bound. And we dissected the song, and I realized what a genius Paul Simon was as a songwriter.
Yeah,
Just phenomenal.
otherworldly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're up in New Hampshire. You get these guys to join you. You're not a primary songwriter. How did it come together as far as the songwriting goes?
So, with that said, even though it's a democracy, I'm a bit of a control freak. So I end up, because I kind of feel like I've done this enough times that, I'm just naturally the musical director.
Right.
So I just coordinate whatever's happening in the room. I like that part. Do you like that part? Play that more. I can sing over that. I can't sing over that. So it's really kind of making decisions as a singer and whether I can envision it bigger in a band setting. Is it going to go farther with this? So, that conversation has changed over the years as we've become closer, but initially it was me kind of, saying, "All right, trust me, I can do something with this. Just, let me lead and we'll work it out together." So, um, that's kind of how that started, and thankfully we all agreed on the same types of things to write. Um,
My feeling about how you came up with the name was probably way off. I was thinking these guys might be like MIT robotics graduate students, and they decided to call their band the Robotic Hawks. But
I
maybe I'm
wish.
wrong.
I wish it was that exciting and credible. No, initially I wanted to call us the Hudson Hawks because I'm a
Oh,
Bruce Willis nut and I love that stupid movie. And we live in Hudson. I thought it was brilliant. There was a band called the Hudson Hawks.
I
So,
believe that.
we liked the Hawk part of it and just kept trying to attach things to it. And then we liked the idea of, robotic representing the machine-like qualities of the rock we were trying to write. And that's kind of how that landed.
Yeah, so nobody went to Carnegie Mellon or Mass or MIT to come up with the name.
No, no.
When did the band? I think I went back and saw. I think 2020 was your first release,
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep, we
and
spent the whole year writing a full record and then spent a good year recording it with this guy, Jack Younger.
oh, I know Jack. Jack's a
Yeah,
good guy.
yep.
Um, so So was it a New Hampshire band when you started? Were you playing gigs up there, or were you just focused on the Boston market?
Yeah, I mean, we did a couple startup gigs in Nashua, open mic things. Then I think we played at Somerville Porch Fest, and then we, launched and started playing the Jungle. You know, I I keep going to the Boston market because it's the most receptive to what we're doing. I would love to play closer to home, and Lowell's helping. We can get, some
Lowell's
gigs across the
growing.
border.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're
Um,
trying to keep that relationship going. But New Hampshire's a metal state. Like they got they got nowhere to put us. There's certainly some punk stuff that we could go towards, but I think we don't come across that way. If you see us, there's a punk energy, but I think on presentation, it doesn't seem logical that we would work on more varied shows.
this goes along with that. If you're listening right now, which most people do, you'll have to go watch the Zoom interview. Is that a black flag tattoo I see under your shirt there?
It is, yeah,
Interesting. The bars.
yeah,
What
right.
made you do that? Just you a huge Black Flag fan? I am. That's
Yeah,
why I'm asking.
yeah. I just Yeah, I mean, basically, I couldn't get I've always wanted it since I was in sixth grade. It was like, but you can't do it. That's not the right thing to do. You don't get a Black Flag bars tattoo. It's dorky and it's played out. And my father became a widower about 10 years ago. And one of the things that my mother hated was tattoos. And he wanted to get a cardinal tattoo to kind of reflect his love and life with her. And I conned my wife into letting me get a tattoo with my dad. I thought it would be a great afternoon. My 80-year-old dad and I went and got tattoos together, and I settled this Black Flag score. It never left. I
Wow.
always wanted it. I'm 50 years old, and I still think it's a good idea. I'm doing
That's
it.
fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. What's your favorite version of Black Flag? I figured I'll ask that question since I like talking about
Yeah.
Black Flag. Do you like the Henry Rollins, Keith Morris, the current? What
I'm a
is it?
Rollins guy.
Rollins. Yeah.
Um, but I'm gonna say something controversial here. My favorite representation of the Rollins era is the Who's Got the 10 and a Half stuff because of the drummer, Anthony Martinez. His swing on that album is so alien to the Black Flag, mystique. Uh, I love his snap. I mean, he swings, and I have a problem with Bill Stevenson's drums in Black Flag. I just
Wow,
because
I've never heard anyone say that.
I, it works and it's wonderful, but it's also awkward and strange, and it always made me feel a little dirty. His drumming.
Do you like his drumming better than the Descendants?
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
He almost feels like a different drummer to me. I mean, he is.
What about Kira? Because she's been on my show. Kira Rossler, you're a fan. You're a bass
Of
player.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
Chuck Dukowski's not bad either, but I mean,
Yeah. 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 I mean, certainly Kira was my girl, of course.
Oh, this is a good segue before we get to the EP. So, do you have bass players that have influenced you over the years, or did you model yourself after, like, I don't know, John Entwistle, Jack Bruce, some older?
No, the funny thing, I was trying to get to this earlier and you brought it back. Thank you. When we moved to Boston, and started playing, we didn't have a bass player. And
Oh,
I decided to jump in. I played enough guitar that I felt I could grow into the role. So it was a decision like that. Wasn't specifically trying to be a bass player, but I grew into one, and I found my home there. I realized, I should have been doing it all along, but that's how I ended up there. But as
I'm
far
going to
as
pause for a second
yeah.
here. Sorry about that. We've got some disturbances in the neighborhood. So maybe it was a guitar player that influenced you. I thought you were a bass player all along, but now you're.
Yeah. I mean, once I got there, I'd say the people I like to, be as clean as is like a Graham Maybe from Joe Jackson.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Good one.
I really think he's a stylish guitar, bass player, smart, uses a lot of choices, taught me to look around the neck a little more. Um, but other than that, like I just, again, uh, like a kid building a tree fort. I don't read music. It's numbers, patterns, memorization, grid patterns, um, whatever I can make happen.
Yeah,
you know.
I didn't know if it was something you were hearing when you were young that drove you to this direction of playing. And you mentioned the Replacements and Weezer and a few other Black Flag and a few other bands. So I was trying to figure out if there was a something that said made you want to go in that direction.
Yeah, no, but I think I've got a thing now. I've got a style, I think when I was younger in the doozies, I overplayed, and it takes a while for you to pull back and kind of see, well, what's really needed here. And, you're not going to get judged for being simple. Stop it. Do what's right for the song. You got an ego when you don't know how to play. You're like, I need to show that I belong here. So you overdo it, and isn't this a cool thing I did? And now I just, I want the song to work. Well,
There's a lot of things I like about your new EP, aside from the songs and the music. You got Benny Grotto, you got Paul Kolderie, you got like two of the best guys.
yeah.
Let's start with the title though. What's behind the title, New Better Things?
I think just a pivot in attitude. I think when you finish one batch and start the next batch, you're looking back, but you're trying not to. And I think this was we knew that it felt different and that we weren't, necessarily connecting it to our previous work. And I think the title was just kind of like, nope, it's okay. Let them be their thing. And I think that the title represents just a loosening of pressure on
Yeah.
ourselves.
So you feel this EP differs a lot in your opinion from the sound and spirit of All Business a lot? I mean, is it a big change for you?
I mean, sonically, of course, because of the recording process, but I do think that there's more air. I think the songs breathe more. Um, I want us to get to a point where we're presenting clear pop ideas with our rock and roll, but I think we allowed the rock to speak a little more for it, and I think this time we're letting the pop speak a little more. Um, and I think that's kind of what I want us to keep doing. I want to get better at writing pop songs that are rock and roll charged. It's not going to be, you know, it's got to be rock, but I want them to be smart and memorable.
Right. Now, did you work with Benny Grotto before?
No, he's just the guy in town who was doing drums that kind of fit the bill. That was kind of the main impetus for,
The
uh,
drum sound.
yeah, we wanted something big. Brian's a very big drummer, and he's hard to record, and we've done it ourselves for the past 5 years to varying results, but not
Did he record the drums on tape or was it digital?
digital. Yeah.
Okay, because I wasn't sure because I think they have a tape machine over there at Mad
Yeah,
Oak as well.
he runs it through. I think he runs it through a tape machine to give it some kind of analog warmth on the way back in.
Yeah, I
Um,
only asked this question because years and years of being around musicians and drummers, I always hear that tape is better with the drum sound, and I know tape's expensive now, but I figured I would ask that question.
yeah,
So what about the mix? I mean, you went to the master himself, Paul Kolderie, who's been on
the
the show, who I love. What kind of
best.
imprint did he leave on the final sound?
Whew. That was an experience, man. Um, you know, when we decided to go and have somebody else touch our music, I didn't realize just what a foreign reality that was. So, you know, you hand him over the stuff, and the first couple mixes were, very different than what I expected, and but that's what we wanted, right? Uh, we wanted somebody else to show us what they heard our songs sounding like, and they, I, you have to go, all right, well, this is what's in front of me, and here's my expectation of what I thought it was going to sound like, and you're trying to conjugate the two without stepping on toes. So it got real quick. I'm like,
Yeah,
I actually have to have conversations with this guy, this hero of mine who I feel kind of it's sacrilegious for me to like have mixed notes, you know?
yeah,
um,
yeah. He's a legend.
but he was just like, come on, dude, stop that. He's like, you're a customer. He's like, I want you happy. That's why we're here. Like it's, you don't have to, I'm giving you ideas and we'll work with them and get to where you want to be. But it was intimidating at first, and I was afraid to ask for things.
What did Benny have any feedback about you going to Paul?
Oh, he loved it. Yeah.
He loved it.
Yeah. We initially were going to have him come to the studio to help us set up drums, because we're making a big deal about drums. And he's like, "Oh, you're going to Benny? I don't have to come." He's like, "Benny knows what to give me. You're good."
Oh,
So
that's interesting. So you
yeah,
asked Paul about the drums before. That's interesting. That's a good
yeah,
approach.
yep.
Now
I just yeah.
you mentioned you worked with Jack Younger early. What was in between? Who were some of the people you worked with in between?
So we did it. So the
Every
first record with Jack, we did the full record. And as a sideline, I recorded like over 11 records with Jack over the years.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Uh,
So you know Jack well. I
Jack
remember
was my
Jack.
guy.
Jack was a sound man on Lansdowne Street when I met him years ago. He's been
Same.
around, but his name's on a lot of records too. He's a good
Yeah, it is.
engineer as well.
Yeah. But we decided we wanted to work faster and not have to write the big bolus and go back to a studio. So we did little jolts and singles and EPs, and we did them in our practice space. And the singer of the control group, my friend Andy from my hometown in Connecticut, um, did all the mixing and does my vocal tracks because he's a superhero. And he he guides me and he helps me with harmonies and just delivery. He's the guy I trust and I won't track without him.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if there was a moment during the recording when you knew this was going to be a special release, but that would be kind of a dumb question, I think, because I don't
Yeah,
think you would have went to Benny Grotto and then Paul Kolderie if you didn't think this was special. So you knew what you had before you went in.
yeah, I think so. Because like
Yeah.
I said, I felt like we were so close to these good boiled down pop ideas that I'm like, I want to give them the respect that I think that they deserve right now, you know?
Okay, folks, if you're listening to this, this will be what I would call the special part of the interview because this band covered a Crowded House song, not just any old Crowded House song, Something So Wrong, which is a massive hit. Does your love for the Finn brothers and the drummer, who I can't recall his name, does it go back as far as Split Ends? Because they were all in Split Ends?
Yes.
Because I loved Split
Yeah.
Ends.
Yeah, I had a thing for I Got You. I had it on a
Yeah,
K-tel tape. Uh,
K-Tel tape.
and it was one
So,
of the standouts. Yeah.
so what made you record this track? Because this was a major hit.
Yeah. I mean, so if there's a common thread with all the covers that we do, I think that if you do a side by side of what we did versus where it started, um, this one's just like all the others, that there was a rock and roll spark in it that I felt that they didn't exploit, that my mind heard every time, like the way those choruses crash. In my mind, that's what they do. But they don't. They don't even touch them in the same accenting the way we do. If you listen to it, it's there, it's implied, but I wanted a big dumb Flintstones approach to the track that they laid. So that's kind of what brought it. The songs we look for is like, how can we supercharge this and kind of like show what's hiding underneath? Um, that was it. We just heard it one day and we were all like, we all love that song. Yeah, let's do it. And rolled with it.
I'm
Um,
curious if Benny and then especially Paul had a reaction to the cover.
yeah, they both liked it. Paul liked it.
Was he surprised?
He didn't seem that surprised. No, not really. No, that they just both were kind of like, yeah, it's a good choice. It feels right and it rocks.
I guess I get more excited about covers than most people do, especially something
Same.
like this. I would never have expected you guys to cover this track, but you did a
Y-
great job. And I
Thank
guarantee
you.
you, people are probably going to gravitate towards that and play that song too. So, your mission statement, as long as it's rock and roll, it's us. What does the rock and roll part of it mean to you here in 2025?
Um, for us, it's punctuation, it's drums. It because of the way Brian plays, like he punctuates our music in a way. I kind of hear us as a louder, noisier Uncle Tupelo in the way we
Oh,
approach
yeah, yeah.
sections, but not as in your face and stylistically obvious as they do. But just that same kind of anchored power that we want our songs to have as a rock and roll thing, you know. But as far as what it means now, I don't know. We get all kinds of oh, you guys are like a 90s retro thing, which I don't hear. I feel like we're contemporary. I feel like we're writing fresh stuff. It doesn't sound like throwback, but I think people hear the guitars and they're like, oh, well, you're approaching guitars the way they used to. And that's different because we're not metal and we're not a noise rock band. So that kind of goes back to this feeling of that we're this anomaly, that we're doing something unusual, which seems completely obvious to me. Like we're doing something obvious right in front of you. It's rock and roll. It takes from everything, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I
Um,
try to.
do you feel like you learned something from this experience of working with these guys and doing the record this way?
Yeah, I think we'll go to the studio again. Um, I definitely feel like Paul put my vocals in a higher position than normal, and that was terrifying too. But I also took it as well. This is where he thinks I should be in the mix, and I trust him. So I'm gonna swallow my uncomfortable, reaction because I'm up there, and comparatively, it's noticeable.
Oh, well, I'm one
Um,
of those people that always complains if the vocals aren't loud enough because I think you need loud vocals and loud drums. It's just a base of rock and roll, in my opinion. And there's so many bands that the guitars just drown everything out. So I
nope.
think it's great.
I think we learned confidence with this experience, a little bit more confidence than we had. Just faith in the mission and the accomplishment of what we did that was different.
Was
And
there
we,
a track on the EP that surprised you how it came out from where it was before you went to the studio?
um, probably Heartbeat. Um, that was a grower, not a shower.
Yeah.
It's got a very, I approached it as a hip hop song in a sense, like because that guitar line repeats that famey David Bowie guitar line. When he played that, I was like, I stopped in my tracks. I'm like, keep doing that, loop it, just go. Brian's gonna do something. I've got an idea, and it took some convincing because it wasn't an obvious rock chorus or rock verse. I mean, the
You're
chorus was
talking about
eventually.
the Carlos Alomar era of David Bowie, aren't you?
Is that what the shit? No, was
Because
that the Adrian Belew era at
oh
that
yeah,
point?
okay, Adrian Belew, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. I was just talking to my friend Alvin Long over at New Alliance yesterday, and we were talking about Ronson, Fripp, Alomar, Belew, Earl Slick. Uh, so many great guitar play. David Bowie knew that you had to have the right
Reeves,
guitar play. Reeves Gabrels, yeah,
are
it's
you
like
are you a Tin Machine guy?
yeah, I saw Tin Machine because I
Oh,
worked with the neighborhoods and they toured nationally with Tin Machine.
uh,
I actually, if it wasn't for that tour, I never would have stood 5 feet from David Bowie. So it's something I will always remember my whole life.
damn
Yeah,
right.
I love the
Ah,
sales rhythm section too.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good band right there. But you know what, Bowie, and I left out one of the guitar players who I actually like and think's underrated, Peter Frampton, who played
Sure.
with Bowie too, I mean, and probably I'm forgetting somebody else. But we just went on a wild David Bowie tangent, but that's okay.
Love
That's
it.
allowed. That's allowed.
Yes.
Um, how has the dynamic among the three of you evolved over the years? Has it been more about playing or the songwriting or the whole package?
The whole package in a sense that there's a now everybody's comfortable in their roles. It's not me being the lead guy, telling them what the right decision is. Now we make the right decisions together, and we know how to get to that point. We don't argue. It's a pretty easy checks and balances thing. If two of people don't like the idea, and then I gotta deal with that. you
Do you
know,
guys rehearse a lot?
Once a week.
Once a week.
Um,
Uh,
but
what about gigs? What's going on now with gigs?
well, we have one in at the Warp and Weft in October with Falsely Accused, which I'm psyched about, close to home.
Wow.
Um, but we did our run in the summer, and then we kind of let go because everybody's doing stuff. But I got to kind of get back on the train, start booking again. Um, I'm just looking for the right fit for us. Really, I'm kind of waking up to the fact that I have. It seems stupid. I'm coming to this at 5 years in, um, but it's not like the system isn't like it used to be. You used to be able to call and get put on a bill. Because we want to pay our dues. We want to be an opening band. We want to start a show and set the tone. That's who we are. I want to be like Boston's Cheap Trick. That just we show up and the night is unchanged because we started it. Um, but that doesn't happen anymore. You have to kind of have an idea and proposal. So that's how I got that last gig at the Middle East with Trailer Swift and Man v Ghosts and Falsely Accused. I got the guy on the hook, and I'm like, oh shit, I better come up with something real quick, or I'm going to lose the night. And I did all the reaching out, and that taught me a lesson. I made something happen because I connected the dots for myself. So I need to start doing more of that and meeting more people and you know it's just the truth of the matter is going out and meeting people is a understated element of the cycle. You've got to get out there and put a face to the name so that you're a viable option. And it's hard when you're up here and it's hard when you got a family, but those are the things you have to do uh
Did you talk
to
to
get out
Michael
there.
Crockett to get that gig from Trailer Swift?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Crockett's a great guy, man. I
yeah,
love him.
they're the
He's a
best.
fabulous artist, by the way, too. I don't know
Yeah,
if
he
you're
really
familiar with
is.
his
I
art.
have.
As an
Yeah.
artist myself, I respect his work. I have one of his pieces around here somewhere, I think in the other room. But I was in the New Alliance, Somerville. I was recording there actually at Voice Motel with Mike Nash. You might know Nash too.
Mm.
He used to run WEMF. That might have
Okay.
been before your time. Well, no, you took a break because that
Yeah.
was around. Yeah, that was in the late two. What do you
Well, I
call them? The
remember
late 2010s? Is that what we're calling them?
yeah, yeah.
But well, that's great, man. So you guys got a good record and you have a plan and you're laid back about it too. But that's okay because it's a different time right now. If there were bands that you could play with, like who would you want to play with? Because you mentioned you don't mind being an opening band for other bands.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you said Trailer Swift, and they're, pretty much one of the bands that I'm like, okay, we could play with them a lot. Like,
Yeah, it's a good
um,
fit.
yeah, and Me and V Ghost for that matter. So I like Bad Idea USA. I'd like to play with them more. Answer Man is great. As far as, it's still tough. I don't have a ton that aren't, you know, metal. I mean, I heard Casket Rat's new single. I'm like, we could play with them, but that won't happen.
Keith Bennett's a pretty good guy. Give him
Yeah.
get in touch with him. He is
I,
really easy. He's a
I
good
worked
friend
with
of
him
mine.
at Army Barracks when I first moved to town. Keith
You
Bennett.
did?
Yeah.
Well, you
On
know
Newberry
him.
Street. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know him. I know.
I did. I mean, I got to give him credit. I didn't know I didn't know the band would really get as popular as they did because he has other bands too.
Yeah.
But he's doing a great job. He's a real go-getter, Keith Bennett. Good
Yep.
friend of mine too. I love the
Yep.
guy. Love
Yep.
absolutely love him. Do you listen to a lot of music, and how do you listen?
I'm a Spotify guy. And I try and go out of my way. I make an effort to listen to what comes out in town. Um, because I like to know who's doing what. Um, I think that's an old behavior. I don't think anybody else does that these days. But I'm interested in what people in our community are making, and I make an effort. Um,
Do you go to
so
Portsmouth much?
not as much as I would like.
It's a
We did the
little bit
press
of.
room once, and that was awesome.
Is that a little? Oh, you played the press room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a good room. Do you, are you? I'm sorry. Forgive my geography
Yeah.
here. Is Hudson far from Portsmouth?
It's about 40, 45.
Oh, it
We're half an
is.
hour from Manchester. Um, and Manchester, there's some things happening we might be able to get going on in there. We've hit the Shaskeen a couple times, but again, it's a metal city. It's tough.
Yeah, I saw Poison in Manchester probably about 20 years ago, I think it was. And it was I guess the Manchester Civic Center. It was a pretty big venue because Poison played there. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's very metal up there,
yeah.
definitely.
I
Do you
saw
feel,
Poison twice. It's
oh, you
fine.
did? Yeah. I saw them a lot. I used to work with them, so I used to see them a lot.
All
And
right,
I don't,
your Enigma stuff.
yeah. What
I loved
about,
Enigma. I anything on Enigma I knew was fucking awesome.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. I mean,
Yep.
I was there when pretty much got the label going, man. In '84, I started working there, so we had a good run, good
Yep.
label. While I was there, we actually blew up with Striper, Poison, Smithereens. It was a good time to be there. Um,
Have you heard our cover of Fire in the Rain?
no, what record is that on?
It's on the Gravity single. But I that Agent Orange album came out. This is The Voice,
Were you
and
the
I
one that somebody recently wrote me about Agent Orange? Was that you? No, that wasn't you.
no, no,
Someone recently wrote me about Agent Orange and said you should get them on your show. And I was like, yeah, that would work.
yeah, damn right.
Bloodstains is Agent Orange, right? Well,
Yes,
there you go.
correct.
One of the
Yeah,
greatest punk rock songs ever. I remember when the Neighborhoods played at Club Lingerie in Hollywood in 1985, and I was at the show, and they encored with Prettiest Girl and Bloodstains. It was fantastic. I was
damn.
like, love Dave for doing that, man. Absolutely. So, I think we covered pretty much everything. You work with Mr. Murata. He's a good guy to work
The
with. He's a
best. Yeah.
big fan of yours, by the
Yep.
way. Big fan.
Awesome. Yep. He keeps me keeps my spirits up.
Cool, man. Well, hey,
Yep.
good luck, and I'm glad we get to talk. And I dig your record, and
Awesome.
I mean, I don't want to single out the cover, but I think it's brilliant. I mean, I didn't think I'd hear anyone cover that song. It's a very ambitious song to cover, but you guys pulled it off, man.
Thank you.
And
Awesome.
If Paul said it was okay, then it's okay with me.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, dude. Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. All right.